switching to a little bit to the football side, right? What were your thoughts, though, man, seeing some of the players that have been opting out right now, man? We seen recently Damien Williams, obviously the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, man, he decided to opt out. We have Marquise Goodwin, who had got traded on draft day to the Eagles. And they need a receiver help. He's opting out. It was 6 of the Patriots: Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, Marcus Cannon, just to name a few of those guys up there. It's been a good amount of players. Even in Buffalo, was it Star Loda Laley? He opted out as well. And those are just the guys that I'm naming have nicer contracts. We didn't even get to some of the undrafted guys, some of the bubble roster guys or younger guys that are on minimum salaries and stuff like that who chose to opt out as well.
The bubble guys, we talked about this last podcast. It's like, all right, these guys are thinking.
Makes sense.
We talk about playing chess with these NBA teams. That's kind of, all right, I don't even know if I'm guaranteed to make this roster, but I'm guaranteed this X amount of money right
here.
And
that 150 that I'm going to get for opting out is going to be equivalent or maybe even more than what I would get if I was on practice squad this year. So
with the other guys too, it comes down to a lot of these guys that you mentioned. They're kind of veterans. They've made their money. I'm not sure about Goodwin though. He's a little bit younger. I don't. He hasn't had big contracts though.
Well, no, he had a nice deal a couple years ago in San Fran, but this got to be year 7 for him because he's two. He's either 2 or 3 years behind me. No, 3 years behind me because my last year in Buffalo was his rookie year.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say you guys were up in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, so he's been in the league for 6-7 years, man.
Yeah, he has been 7 years.
But he had a nice contract in San Fran, though.
He had to have got a nice contract because he had over 900 yards one of their years.
Yeah,
so
San Fran, he got a nice deal.
Okay, so never mind. He's not an outlier then. Yeah. So I think a lot of these guys that are opting out, they got their money. They feel good about that. So it makes sense. It's just all your personal preference. If you would rather. If your wife was pregnant or if you just had a baby, if you're thinking family type of stuff, then personal preference, you do your thing. Yeah. You've earned that throughout your career where you could give yourself leverage and give yourself that option. So good for you.
Yeah, man, I didn't have an issue with it. I thought, for the guys that did choose to opt out, I'm like, man, I respect it regardless of if they were high risk or not, because some of the guys are listed as high risk and they'll get the $350,000 plus the credited season. But the other guys, they chose to just opt out voluntarily. We only get the $150 without a credited season. But when it comes to stuff like this, like you said, there is no right or wrong. Some people take it more serious. Some people don't think it's that serious in terms of the COVID situation. So I just think because that's how it is from a national standpoint, I'm not really surprised to see it being like this as well with some of these players in terms of guys saying, look, man, I'd rather opt out regardless of the money. Because some of these guys are forfeiting millions of dollars. I know Star Loda Laley, he had, $4.5 million fully guaranteed this year that he's walking away from. But the way the contracts would work anyways is it will essentially just pause this year and then next year you'll still have that same contract. So
what's going to be interesting though is he's going to be out a year. All of a sudden, how much of that money? Well, you said it's guaranteed, but how much is that going to hit the salary caps? And would it make sense to release that player? That's going to be an interesting thing.
I haven't thought about.
That's something you definitely got to weigh as a player because that could hurt your career.
Yeah, you thought that element. I thought even with James Conner, so he said he's going to play, and I was like, at first I was like, okay. You think of him cancer survivor and stuff like that, but I was like, forget all that from a business standpoint. If he opts out, he goes back into contract year again next year, so he doesn't get the opportunity to hit the market or force the Steelers' hand in terms of a deal or not. So when you think about that, I'm like, I can see other players taking that same approach of, I'm going to come and play regardless of what the season looks like, so that way I can at least be able to hit that market and get the most money I can get. So it's a ton of different angles with it. And like I said, there is no right or wrong to it, but it's more than what people think on the surface of just, all right, opt in or opt out.
Cam Hayward as well, unrestricted next year because he's got a $9.5 million base salary this year.
He's actually considered high risk too.
Yeah, so that's kind of goes with him and James Conner. They're playing. I don't know what they're thinking. We really don't know.
But we're just saying
they could just want to play football. Right. They could also be thinking the contract situation. Yeah. So there's just a lot, like you said, a lot of things at play. Whatever decision anyone makes, that's their decision. Good for them.
And as of right now, no Steeler has opted out, but they do have 2 players that have tested positive for COVID.
Was that what this reserve list is? It's just whoever tested positive that's on this.
Either you tested positive or you were in close proximity with somebody that tested positive.
Okay.
So Lane Johnson, for example, with the Philadelphia Eagles, he got put on the list and he went on, I think, Instagram and said that he had tested positive. Here in Pittsburgh, I think Justin Lane tested positive, but the other young man, I think his name was Aaron Springs, I believe it is. I think he was just in close proximity. So that's why he has to go on that COVID reserve list.
Okay.
But for the opt-out, they still have a couple of more days, I want to say, before. So that's why I said as of right now, no Steeler has done it. But this could still change, because it's a fluid situation and stuff, man.
Yeah. So, good for anyone making their decision. And,
unless it's men.
What? No, he's good to make his own decision, dude. He is. I know he's a family guy.
So I did have a question for you. Just of a hypothetical. Because I've seen people saying that, look, man, if the Steelers win the Super Bowl this year, regardless, like, there is no asterisk. Everything is good. Like, full system go. Like, it counts. I got you on that, right?
It counts. Yeah. Like, the NBA championship's going to count.
So my question is,
counts,
so if Ben were to say, you know what, I changed my mind, I'm opting out this year, will we still have that same mentality that, hey, man, this season counts, man? Heck yeah.
It does count. Yeah, okay. I've always thought that.
All right, just checking, man.
It's his decision, dude. Right, it's his decision. He's a human.
You saying that because he opted in?
No, he's a human.
If he opted out, you would lose your mind over it.
I'm being serious.
Would you still say 13-3?
Huh?
Would you keep it at 13-3?
Oh, hell no, dude. Hell no. No, because Ben is a big part of our success. He's a big part of our success.
All right,
dude, don't even put me in that scenario, dude. I don't think anyone wants to hear that scenario either. Don't put us in that. Just don't put us in that mental space.
Oh man, you going through it just thinking about it, huh?
I don't know what we're gonna do.
What you mean? We got quarterbacks. We got it.
No. We're good though. He's opting in.
He's good. We're good. He hasn't changed his mind, so it's all fine.